Welcome to Learning Life Content. Please like, share, comment and subscribe. Your support helps us grow and motivates us to bring you more fascinating and enriching stories. 5 ancient civilizations, even more terrifying than your nightmares. Think your apartment lease is bad? Imagine a world where home renovation meant burning the house down, with Grandma still inside. Welcome to ancient history's worst Airbnb experiences. The Jiahu, cannibal songs of China's first ghosts. In Neolithic China, long before the first emperor, the Jiahu people thrived. Flourishing between 7000 and 5700 BCE, this civilization predates Egypt's pyramids. But what archaeologists uncovered was not a peaceful society, but a place of profound and unsettling contradictions. Their story begins in their graves. Hundreds of burial sites revealed a gallery of the grotesque. Skulls buried without bodies, bodies without skulls, and bones deliberately broken and burned. Yet amidst this macabre theatre, there was music. The Jiahu crafted some of the world's oldest playable instruments, exquisite flutes carved from the hollow bones of cranes, often placed reverently within the graves. The evidence points to something darker. Distinct cut marks on human remains mirror the techniques of animal butchery, a methodical removal of meat from the bone. The most horrifying discovery came from a single dwelling, a human skull that had been cooked inside a clay pot. Nearby, a neat stack of children's bones lay like firewood, each skeleton missing its skull. Yet, in the heart of this darkness, they were master brewers, creating the world's oldest known fermented beverage, a potent wine made from rice, honey, and hawthorn fruit. Imagine the scene, a night filled with the ethereal melodies of bone flutes as the living drank deeply, their faces illuminated by flames. Around 5700 BCE, the Jiahu culture vanished, leaving only a disturbing legacy of bones and artifacts, a silent testament to one of humanity's first and most terrifying civilizations. The Culinary Tripilia, death by fire and clay. Long before the rise of Mesopotamia or Egypt, a sophisticated culture flourished across what is now Ukraine, Moldova, and Romania. The Culinary Tripilia people weren't just building villages. They were constructing sprawling mega-settlements, some of the largest in the world at the time. Cities like Talianki and Maidanetski housed populations of up to 15,000 people, organized in vast concentric rings of meticulously planned longhouses. They were master artisans, crafting stunningly intricate pottery adorned with mesmerizing spirals and patterns that would be the envy of any modern ceramicist. But beneath this artistic surface lay a tradition so extreme it defies easy explanation. Every 60 to 80 years, they would systematically torch their entire cities, reducing decades of work to ash and clay. This was no accident, no tragic fire sweeping through a city. It was a deliberate, methodical act. Before the burning, each house was carefully prepared. Valuables, grain, tools, and even animal bones were placed inside, and the doors and windows were sealed with clay. Then the entire structure was set aflame in a colossal, city-wide conflagration. Archaeologists debate the reason. Was it a practical measure for sanitation, a way to fumigate pests and disease? Or was it something far more profound? The evidence points towards a powerful ritual. Excavated house ruins often reveal a central altar, a sacred space where the fire's transformative power was focused. On these altars, archaeologists have found thousands of enigmatic female figurines, some missing limbs or faces, half melted and fused to the charred pottery in the inferno. Disturbingly, the evidence suggests this ritual purification came at the ultimate cost. The remains of sacrificed individuals, often women and children, have been found within these burned dwellings, particularly near the ovens and altars, suggesting they were part of the offering. This was a cyclical act of destruction and rebirth, a terrifying fire festival to cleanse and renew the spirit of their world. As the old city burned, the community would engage in drumming, dancing and casting offerings into the flames, a symbolic death of the home to ensure the life of the people, who would then build a new city directly atop the ashes of the old. The Elamites, punishment by poison, fire and gods. In southwestern Iran, the Elamites ruled a brutal world of ritual justice. Fire altars were execution pits where prisoners were burned alive to appease the gods. Their engineers even used pitch fires and suffocating smoke as gas warfare during sieges, one of history's earliest known chemical tactics. Punishments were gruesome: stoning buried alive, tongue removals, eye gouging, ritual flayings, and public displays of dismembered enemies stuffed with bitumen. Human sacrifices underpinned the very walls of their cities, living victims buried alive in foundations to protect against evil spirits. Even false priests faced flaying, their skin nailed to temple doors, a divine warning. The Lulubai, mountain killers of the Zagros. The Lulubai, a ruthless tribal confederation carved into the cliffs of the Zagros, didn't build kingdoms, they carved death. Their most famous ruler, Anubu Benini, celebrated victories with reliefs showing skinned and mutilated captives. They ambushed caravans, flayed soldiers alive, and left stacks of rotting enemy skulls as grim warnings on mountain passes. Ritual executions took place on stone platforms, public death spectacles where enemies were killed and left as carrion. No enemies were spared. Generals who retreated were forced to skin themselves as penance, then burned in sacrificial fires. The Lulubai slowly vanished into history, though their terror lived on in Mesopotamian records. The Zangnu, skull drums and bone chalices of the steppe. On the Eurasian steppe, a nomadic confederation arose that would haunt China's Han dynasty for centuries. Known as the Xiongnu, they were a highly organized and terrifying force, masters of psychological terror with practices so macabre they blur the line between history and legend. Central to their fearsome image were war drums crafted from the skulls of vanquished chieftains. More than an instrument, it was a psychological weapon whose deep, resonant beat was said to strike paralyzing fear into the hearts of their enemies. This grim tradition extended to sacred oaths, where warriors drank from chalices fashioned from the polished skulls of their foes. Their justice was equally brutal. Betrayal was punished by strangulation with a bowstring, while spies were flayed alive as a ghastly warning. Archaeology confirms their brutal customs. Elite tombs reveal chieftains were buried with a retinue to serve them in the next world. Dozens of wives, servants and horses strangled and interred alongside them. When the Great Wall of China rose to block their raids, the Xiongnu adapted, digging tunnels or bribing guards. They perfected psychological warfare, mutilating captured soldiers and releasing them to shatter enemy morale before a battle even began. This warrior ethos was sanctified by their worship of the sky god, Tengri. For the Xiongnu, war was a divine communion, and sacrifice was an offering to the heavens. This belief forged warriors who viewed death not with fear, but as a sacred fate. making them one of the most formidable forces the ancient world ever knew. These civilizations remind us that history can be darker than horror fiction. A brutal, ritualized world where survival meant terror, sacrifice and control by fire and fear. Their legacies linger not only in ruins, but in the terrifying imaging etched into the earliest pages of human history. Thank you for watching Learning Life content. Please like, share, comment and subscribe. Your support helps us grow and motivates us to bring you more fascinating and enriching stories.